first reading. It's up to the board.
Does it preclude us from soliciting applicants?
No.
Okay.
So I can go ahead and put
Yeah.
the apps in the paper.
Yeah,
I don't have an
think
issue
we
as
do
a first reading, provided we're able to start soliciting people to join this committee. I think we need to start
Since
moving.
There's one minor change we made. We'll get it all together. Mike will be back.
That's fine,
on the-
that's fine, as long as we
okay.
can move forward with getting applicants.
So I would entertain a motion to accept the
First reading?
charge of the
As amended?
Economic Development
just a
Committee as amended this evening. Someone make that motion?
I think he's you writing it?
Yeah. I need a little bit more. Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the first reading charge as amended this evening. Is that okay?
First
Of the Economic
reading
Development.
Of the,
Economic
I'm
Development.
sorry, of the economic
Formation of the Economic Development Subcommittee.
formation, okay, I'll go with that. Formation of the
Take the time.
Development Subcommittee, is that technically?
That's what it's called, yep.
Why is it called a subcommittee, by the way? Why is it just a committee?
The last town I worked in, it was a subcommittee, so I went with that. If you want my honest, that's my honest
What,
answer.
I guess,
Make it a committee
aren't
if
they
you
all
want.
sub to us? I mean, subcommittee.
It's not important enough to be a full-fledged committee.
No, it's more important. It's
Mr.
reporting
Chairman,
to
I'm
two
going to
different
read this.
groups.
Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the first reading charge as amended this evening of the formation of the Economic Development Subcommittee.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Sure, second.
Second by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion? This vote is for you too, so. So you want to have separate? Yeah, I would think so. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The board is unanimous. Yes, you are.
Good.
You're in a posted meeting.
Yeah, you're posted. Joint meeting with the board.
Would you like me to read it back to you, so?
To adopt Jeff's motion, Jefferson Knowles' motion, accept the economic development committee charge. Second. I missed again?
Backbencher.
Real good, I'm telling you. Aye.
Okay, now we'll have a motion. I recommend the 9 people.
I think you need to leave some latitude. What if we don't have 9 applicants?
Right.
Well,
Just put it
Up
out
to,
there.
a
limited
Up
to
to
9
9.
people.
Are the liaisons, that's my only question, was are the liaisons, they're excluded? Liaisons and staff are excluded from the night.
Right.
Okay.
You're not part
Each
of the
board
night.
will appoint a liaison.
And in your charge, in your proposed charge here, which we
Yeah.
just adopted, we've also suggested that all other standing committees appoint a liaison, if I recall correctly.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, like, said you don't want to back in a corner. With that statement, you would want to limit so many business people out of town as well as, like, you'd want no more than 4 people out of town, suggested on the meeting. Otherwise, you could turn around and, for some godforsaken reason, have 8 people that are out of the town that are applying for the job.
That's
I
up
don't
to
think
us.
that'll happen
We're just gonna
because
have a list, right, and we're gonna,
It's up to us. That's up to the
You have to
appointee.
make up a-
we set a limit
Yeah.
of 9. There's gonna be a bunch of candidates that apply. Hopefully, there's more than 9.
Oh, hopefully, candidates night almost.
And, you know, then typically what we do is we interview those candidates prior to the meeting, and then we have a roll call vote, each one of us having a vote as to which of the 9 that we'd like to have on the committee.
Something like that, it could save us a lot of problems down the road, so it's good like that.
And by the way, if there's only 7 and we decide we only want to appoint 5 of the candidates, we can do that too.
good point, though.
But
I
It
wouldn't
was,
say
it
much,
was.
but I did
It's
say something.
worthwhile.
Mr. Yule, you have a motion?
I do, but I don't.
Okay.
Now, on this, it just says for a specific number, but we want to change that, correct? Economic Development Subcommittee of a minimum of 9, a maximum of 9?
Yes.
we can always change that if there's
All right.
tremendous amount of interest.
We can only hope.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I move to form an Economic Development Subcommittee of a maximum of 9 members to be appointed jointly by the Board of Selectmen and the Community Planning Commission.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yule, seconded by Mr. O'Leary. Further discussion?
It's a quick thought. If we vote and approve somebody and they decide they don't want that person,
No,
Duke it out.
it's a roll call.
It's a roll call vote,
Right,
so.
okay.
Count names.
right, okay,
Okay.
that's right, like we did with the secondary school
On the
committee.
motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. I don't know if you want
Excellent.
to make a vote on that, too.
Can I ask something, though? Did I read this
What's that?
incorrectly, though, Heidi, that
Huh?
you had the Board of Selectmen making the appointments?
No, you-
Not-
you-
Oh,
you
that was
read
the
it?
first one.
Okay,
Oh, that's the first one, so that's not,
Yeah, it's supposed to be joint.
It's a joint.
The top one,
okay, that's what I,
just a maximum of 9.
all right. So I obviously, the most recent isn't in the Dropbox.
Chairman, I move to form an economic development subcommittee of a maximum of 9 members to be appointed jointly by the Board of Selectmen and Community Planning Commission.
What was it now?
We're getting mad.
Fly it.
Great. Heidi, I would ask you, when you update with the latest change,
Yes.
to email it in PDF form to Greg or get
Okay.
him a copy so he can distribute it to the board.
Okay.
Jim, would this be something that would be maybe put into the newspaper for candidates?
Oh,
Yeah.
for advertisement,
Yeah.
yes, definitely.
Would the transcript be interested?
He wasn't sleeping through the whole discussion, but I think he got that much, Neil. All right?
We normally, Neil.
When I checked,
For committees, we normally actually put an advertisement in the paper,
That'd be great.
in addition to whatever Mr.
another good point by you.
Toros decides to,
Another freebie, Bob.
Two for two.
okay, I thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Before everyone leaves, I must say that Heidi's done a tremendous amount of work on this, and I greatly appreciate all the data she sent and all the information she sent to us to review before tonight's meeting. I kept on getting emails last Wednesday and Thursday from Heidi Griffin, all the way through. But it's worthwhile read, and I greatly appreciate the work that you've put into this. Very.
We take turns whipping her.
Someone whipped her pretty good last week. It must have been you, Pat. She was churning out the
Pat and
information.
Jeff didn't whip me on Friday. I had already sent the emails.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Next item on our agenda is meeting with the FinCom on the capital plan.
Mills.
I think I'll take this.
Oh, Neil.
Just handheld.
You might want to leave some of those seats.
They're too heavy to carry.
really?
Leave
At
them.
least 2.
2. 3.
Three.
There's 3 members.
Oh,
There you go, you got lucky.
There's somebody hiding
sir.
in the back there.
Richard.
Mr. Johnson.
Good night.
I know. He was kind of sticking with it, what he's done. That's why I just shut up. I'll get it.
Come on down.
All right, gentlemen.
Hi, Neil. Hi, Pat.
Hi.
You know what, just get the.
Gentlemen, you
I
can come
forgot
down
mine.
here if you'd like. Why don't
You wanna do it
come in?
here?
Somebody's got to blow. What? Somebody's got to blow.
Did you have enough of those, Greg?
I did, thank you very much.
All right.
Yes.
Next time.
I could use my BlackBerry, but, you know, it would be withholding with me.
I was dying to get over there.
Give the floor to him.
I have the floor. Thank you. In consultation with a couple of members of the Board of Selectmen and School Committee, the Finance Committee has put together a capital improvement policy, which we unanimously adopted at
a meeting, I believe, in March. The outline of it I've handed out tonight. I think you all have the policy. Greg distributed it to you as a Word document. What I thought I would do is kind of just go through the highlights of the plan and entertain any questions you might have. The purpose of the plan is to guide the town in acquiring and financing capital items, and that could be anything from equipment to buildings to land, whatever the capital need is. The policy calls for a 10-year capital improvement plan to be prepared by the town administrator. And that plan needs to be updated and readopted by the Board of Selectmen annually. That plan would include a capital improvement budget, which would be the current year of the plan, so that you've got a 10-year look out at what the needs are likely to be, and obviously the further out you get, the more murky it gets. But as you get closer, it ought to reflect some reality of the situation that we're in and what the needs are. But that just needs to get updated annually, and then what will come out of that is the annual budget. Recognizing that items may come up that are unforeseen, and we need to deal with them, and they will go into a budget that wasn't, would be a budget item for something that wasn't already in the 10-year plan. The program that we envision calls for some current information, and that the town administrator would present to both the Board of Selectmen and to the Finance Committee the budget for the year 45 days prior to town meeting. We implemented that this year, and I think that worked pretty well. It got us so that we weren't trying to make decisions at the last minute without a whole lot of information. We also looked at funding options and saw two major types of funding options. One that we've labeled as pay-as-you-go, which would include capital exclusions or payment from free cash, and the second being debt financing. And the debt financing could either be a debt exclusion with exempt debt, non-exempt debt, or leasing. And we've seen leasing come up from time to time, particularly in the school budget on capital equipment. The underlying principles of this policy are that the minimum value of anything that we're going to treat as a capital item is $25,000. That's higher. Go ahead.
Does that mean that anything under it is going to be a budget item?
Yes. Yes, it does.
I'd like to come back to that.
Yeah, and I've got some thoughts on that, and we had talked about that not only in the Finance Committee, but in the discussions with the folks who contributed to the document. And I can talk about it now. It probably makes sense while we're on it.
Mr. Chair.
The 25,000.
Sorry, if I may, just for a second. I think last budget we had an issue with a $5,000 copier for the library that had to be made a capital expense. Is that?
That
And that
kind
was
of
a state
thing
mandate,
that
I
we would
believe?
want to be we would want that to be part of an operating budget. The $25,000 is policy, and if you read in the document, it is the objective to get to that point. I don't think you can do it all in 1 year. I think you have to gradually work up to it so that you can build this into the operating budgets of the various departments. But it ought to be a goal that's where we want to be. The other qualification for a capital item is that have a useful life of 5 years or more. So if it doesn't, we ought to be funding that out of an operating budget.
Don, in case that would be
Yep.
police cruisers.
Police cruisers would be, yes.
Where they would cost more than $25,000, but the useful life is less than 5 years.
That's right. It's the difference between police cruisers and the unmarked cars, which is the distinction that we've always made, is the police cruisers, because their useful life is shorter, ought to become